A light appeared in the heavens, silent, radiant, and unlike anything ever seen before. It shone over the eastern sky, calling forth wise men from distant lands. They followed it through the endless sands, guided by faith in a mystery that defied human understanding. For generations, people have asked, what was this star? A supernatural beacon sent by God? A rare celestial event? Or the very light of the Creator made visible to men? Before we unravel this timeless mystery, pause for a moment. Subscribe to Echoes of the Fallen, where ancient prophecies and forgotten signs are brought back to life. Join a community seeking truth buried in the shadows of history and revelation. Because the Star of Bethlehem is more than a story. It's a message written in light, a divine signal marking the moment when heaven touched the earth. They were known as the Magi, men of wisdom, scholars of the stars, seekers of secrets hidden in the heavens. From the far lands of the east, they watched the night skies, reading the language of light and shadow written across the firmament. Then one night it appeared, a star unlike any other. Brilliant, unmoving, purposeful. It was as though the heavens themselves had opened a window, shining a path toward destiny. They could not ignore it. Their scrolls spoke of an ancient prophecy, of a king to be born, not in Babylon, not in Persia, but in a small, distant land called Judea. With hearts stirred by divine curiosity, they gathered treasures fit for royalty. Gold, the metal of kings, frankincense, the fragrance of divinity, and myrrh, the scent of sacrifice. The desert became their proving ground. Days scorched them, nights froze them, yet the star remained, steady, burning in the silence. To others, it was just another light in the sky, but to them it was a voice, a celestial whisper calling them closer to something eternal. Every step drew them nearer to a mystery greater than empires. They crossed kingdoms, followed ancient trade routes, and braved the dangers of thieves and wilderness. They sought not wealth nor glory, but truth. For they believed the heavens do not lie, and this star had meaning beyond reason. When they finally arrived in Jerusalem, they asked the question that would shake a king's throne. Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him. The world did not yet understand what they followed, but the wise men knew. They were being led by the hand of God toward a moment that would change eternity. Long before the Magi set their eyes upon that radiant star, the scriptures had already spoken of it. Centuries earlier, a prophet named Balaam, a man from the east, declared a strange and distant vision. A star shall come out of Jacob, a scepter shall rise out of Israel. Numbers 24:17. The prophecy lingered in time like an echo waiting to awaken. Babylon fell, empires rose and crumbled, yet the words endured. Among the ancient scrolls preserved by wise men of the East, this prophecy may have survived, handed down, studied, and awaited by generations who looked not only to the heavens, but to the Word of God written within them. So when that extraordinary light appeared in the night sky, the Magi understood it was the sign, not random, not coincidental. It aligned perfectly with the moment when the world's greatest empire, Rome, ruled with an iron fist, and Israel longed for its promised Redeemer. Some believe the star was a planetary conjunction, perhaps Jupiter meeting Saturn in the constellation of Pisces, symbolizing kingship and divine birth. Others suggest a supernova, a heavenly explosion marking a new era. But there's another view, one that transcends science, that the star was not a natural phenomenon at all, but a supernatural manifestation, a light woven by the Creator himself to guide those who sought his Son. Every prophecy converged on this moment. Isaiah had spoken of a great light that would shine upon those living in darkness. Micah foretold that a ruler would come from Bethlehem, the smallest of towns, yet destined to birth eternity's king. The star's appearance was not an accident of astronomy. It was the hand of providence, perfectly timed, perfectly placed, illuminating both sky and soul. The heavens were not just telling a story, they were declaring that the King of Heaven had come to earth. The Magi were not dreamers chasing myths. They were men of knowledge, mathematicians, astrologers, scholars who mapped the movement of the stars and planets with astonishing precision. For them, the heavens were a divine clock, its gears turning according to the will of the Almighty. So when the Star of Bethlehem appeared, the question was not if it was real, but what did it mean? Across centuries, astronomers have tried to decode this mystery. Some point to a rare planetary alignment that occurred around the time of Christ's birth. Jupiter and Saturn forming a brilliant conjunction in the constellation of Pisces, a sign often linked to Israel. Others suggest it was the rising of Jupiter, the king planet, merging with Regulus, the king star in the heart of Leo, the lion, symbol of Judah. To the Magi, such a union would have shouted one truth: a divine king has been born. And yet, the scriptures describe something no astronomical chart can explain. The star not only appeared, it moved. It led the wise men across deserts, and finally it stood still over the very house where the child was. No natural light in the cosmos behaves like that. No celestial body stops above a single location. This was no ordinary event. It was a guided light, a beacon of divine intelligence. Perhaps the Shekinah glory, the same radiant presence that once led Israel through the wilderness as a pillar of fire. For the wise men, it was more than science. It was revelation. The heavens had aligned not merely in stars, but in prophecy, in time, and in destiny. The Creator who set galaxies spinning had written a message in the sky. Greater than "the King has come. Follow the light and you will find him." And so they did. Step by step, night by night, following a star that was far more than a light in the sky. It was a voice from eternity, calling mankind to kneel before the newborn king. When the wise men finally arrived in Bethlehem, the star that had guided them came to rest above a humble dwelling. There, in the quiet of the night, the light from heaven touched the earth, not upon a throne, but upon a child wrapped in simple cloth. No fanfare, no royal banners, only stillness, holiness, and awe. They entered and saw the child with his mother Mary, and they fell to their knees. The journey of 1,000 miles ended in worship. The Magi opened their treasures, offering gold, frankincense, and myrrh, each gift whispering a prophecy. Gold for the King of Kings, frankincense for the Son of God, myrrh for the one destined to die and rise again. But beyond their gifts lay a deeper revelation. The star they followed was not merely a sign to Christ, it was a sign of Christ. For Jesus himself would later declare, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness." John 8:12. The Star of Bethlehem was more than an astronomical wonder. It was a symbol of divine light piercing human darkness, a foreshadowing of the true light that would guide all nations. The same glory that shone above the manger would later blaze from the empty tomb, declaring victory over sin and death. In that moment, prophecy, creation, and eternity converged. The heavens had borne witness to the birth of their Creator. The light that guided the wise men was the same light that now calls every soul to follow. For those who still seek, the message remains unchanged. The journey to find truth always begins when we follow the light. And though the Star of Bethlehem faded from the night sky long ago, its radiance endures, in hearts awakened by faith, in lives transformed by the one it revealed. The Star of Bethlehem may have faded from the heavens, but its light was never meant to disappear. It was the beginning of a greater illumination, one that no night can overcome. That star shone to announce that God had stepped into human history, not as a conqueror, but as a child. It led kings and seekers, rich and poor alike, to the same revelation, that the Creator of the stars had come to dwell among the ones he made. Even now, across the centuries, its message still echoes. Those who truly seek him will always find him. The wise men followed the light in the sky. Today, we are called to follow the light within, the truth of Christ that still guides hearts through the darkness of this world. Every soul that looks toward that light becomes part of the same divine story that began in Bethlehem. So when the world feels cold, when faith feels distant, look up. The same God who placed a star in the sky to guide the Magi has placed his Spirit in you to guide your steps. The Star of Bethlehem was not just a sign of his birth, it was a promise of his presence, and that light still shines.